Yo, what's good, fight fans? Welcome back to Ring Ruler, the channel where we break down the hottest boxing drama, knockouts, and controversies that keep you glued to the sport. If you're new here, smash that subscribe button, hit the bell, and join the Ring Ruler squad because today we're diving into an absolute bombshell that's got the boxing world buzzing. Stephen A. Smith just dropped a jaw-dropping warning to Gervonta Tank Davis about facing Lamont Roach Jr. again. And trust me, this advice is straight up shocking. Is Tank about to make a career-defining mistake by stepping back into the ring with Roach? Why is Stephen A. sounding the alarm? And what's the crazy twist at the end that's going to leave you speechless? Stick around until the very end of this. Ring Ruler exclusive, because you do not want to miss this. Let's get it. Let's set the stage by rewinding to March 1st, 2025, at the Barclays Center in New York. The atmosphere was electric, the crowd was hyped, and Gervonta Tank Davis, the WBA lightweight champ, was walking into the ring like he owned it. With a record of 30 wins, 28 knockouts, and 0 losses, Tank was expected to steamroll his opponent, Lamont Roach Jr., and add another highlight reel KO to his resume. I mean, this is the guy who's been dropping opponents left and right, making it look easy. But hold up. Lamont Roach didn't get the memo. What was supposed to be a one-sided beatdown turned into one of the most controversial fights of the year. After 12 grueling rounds, the judges scored it a majority draw, and the boxing world lost it. Tank took a knee in the 9th round, but the ref didn't count it as a knockdown, sparking cries of robbery from Roach's camp and fans alike. Some even argued Roach deserved the win outright. Social media was on fire, with fans and analysts debating whether Tank got exposed or if he was just off his game. Now, with a rematch reportedly set for June 21st in Las Vegas, the stakes are sky high and the drama is only getting crazier. But here's where things take a wild turn. Stephen A. Smith, the king of hot takes, is telling Tank to avoid this rematch at all costs. Why? Let's break it down on Ring Ruler. If you know Stephen A. Smith, you know he doesn't hold back. The man's got a microphone and an opinion, and he's not afraid to use either. After the Davis-Roach fight, Stephen A. hit the airwaves on ESPN, and he was fired up. He started by defending Tank against the haters who were quick to call him overrated after the draw, pointing out that Tank's power and skill are still unmatched in the lightweight division. But then, in true Stephen A. fashion, he flipped the script and dropped a warning that had everyone's ears perked up. He told Tank that stepping back into the ring with Lamont Roach could be a massive risk to his career and legacy. Now, why? Would Stephen A., who's been a vocal supporter of Tank, say something like that? It's because Roach proved he's no ordinary opponent. On March 1st, Roach went toe-to-toe with one of the hardest punchers in boxing history and didn't just survive. He pushed Tank to the absolute limit. Roach, with his slick movement, relentless pressure, and underrated power, made Tank look human for the first time in a long time. In fact, Roach even claimed post-fight that he's fought guys who hit harder than Tank, which is a bold statement when you're talking about a knockout artist like Gervonta Davis. Let's talk about that first fight for a second, because it's critical to understanding Stephen A.'s warning. Tank came in as the heavy favorite, with odds as high as 1,200 in some sports books. Fans expected him to walk through Roach like he did against Ryan Garcia or Rolly Romero. But Roach, the former WBA super featherweight champ, had other plans. He used his speed and ring IQ to frustrate Tank early, landing crisp combinations and avoiding the big shots that usually put Tank's opponents to sleep. By the middle rounds, Tank was landing some heavy blows, but Roach was eating them and firing back. Then came the 9th round, the moment that changed everything. Tank took a knee after a flurry from Roach, and while the ref ruled it a slip, many believed it should have been scored as a knockdown. That moment shifted the momentum, and Roach finished the fight strong, leaving the judges with a tough decision. The final scorecards read 114-114, 114-114, and 115-113 for Tank, resulting in a majority draw. Roach's team was furious, claiming they were robbed, while Tank's camp insisted he did enough to win. The controversy only fueled the demand for a rematch, but Stephen A. is waving a red flag, and Ring Ruler is here to unpack why. So, why is Stephen A. so concerned about Tank fighting Roach again? It's all about risk versus reward. Tank is one of the biggest stars in boxing, with a massive fan base, lucrative sponsorships, and a reputation as the face of the sport. At 30 years old, he's in his prime, but he's also at a crossroads. A second fight with Roach isn't just about defending his WBA lightweight title. It's about proving he's still the untouchable king of the division. But here's the problem. Roach already showed he can hang with Tank. In their first fight, Roach exposed some cracks in Tank's armor, particularly his stamina and mental toughness in the later rounds. Boxing analysts like Paulie Malignaggi have pointed out that Tank looked frustrated and even mentally weak at times, especially when Roach refused to back down. If Roach can replicate that game plan in the rematch and maybe even improve on it, there's a real chance he could pull off the upset. And let's be real. An upset loss to Roach would be catastrophic for Tank's legacy. It'd give his rivals, like Shakur Stevenson and Devin Haney, all the ammunition they need to claim they're the true kings of the lightweight division. Stephen A. knows this, and he's urging Tank to think long and hard before signing that rematch contract. But it's not just about Tank's vulnerabilities. Lamont Roach is a legit threat, and he's coming for blood. Roach has been vocal about his confidence, telling reporters he's not intimidated by Tank's power or reputation. In a post-fight interview, he even dropped a wild story about facing Tank in the amateurs when they were 13 years old, saying, "He wasn't scared then, and he's definitely not scared now." That kind of mindset is dangerous, especially when you pair it with Roach's skills. His team is buzzing with confidence, too. Roach's sparring partner, Ben Johnson, recently said, "They've already figured out Tank's tendencies and have a game plan to exploit them in the rematch." And get this, Roach claimed Tank tried to bite him during their first fight, adding a whole new layer of bad blood to this rivalry. Whether that's true or just mind games, it shows Roach is in Tank's head. Meanwhile, there are rumors that Tank's been dodging calls and changing his phone number, possibly to avoid the mental warfare from Roach's camp. This is the kind of drama that makes boxing so addictive, and Ring Ruler is your front row seat to all of it. Let's zoom out for a second and talk about why this rematch is such a pivotal moment for both fighters. For Tank, it's a chance to silence the doubters who say he got exposed on March 1st. A dominant win, especially a knockout, would reassert his dominance and shut down the noise about his mental toughness or stamina. Boxing legend Roy Jones Jr. is backing Tank, predicting he'll come out swinging and finish Roach early in the rematch. But even Roy admits Roach is a tricky puzzle, with his awkward style and relentless pressure. For Roach, this is the opportunity of a lifetime. A win over Tank would catapult him from underdog to superstar, earning him the WBA lightweight title and a spot among boxing's elite. The entire lightweight division is watching this fight closely. Fighters like Keyshawn Davis, Shakur Stevenson, and even Vasily Lomachenko are circling, ready to challenge whoever comes out on top. The winner of Davis versus Roach II could dictate the future of the division for years to come. And that's why Stephen A.'s warning is resonating so loudly. Now here's where things get really juicy, and you're going to want to stay locked in for this. Stephen A. didn't just warn Tank about the dangers of fighting Roach. He hinted at something bigger. According to sources close to the situation, Stephen A. believes Tank's team is pushing for the rematch to settle the score, but there's a hidden agenda. Some insiders are whispering that Tank's promoters want to use a big win over Roach to set up a mega fight with one of the division's other stars, like Shakur Stevenson or Devin Haney. But here's the catch. If Tank loses to Roach, those dream matchups could vanish overnight. Stephen A. is reportedly worried that Tank's confidence might be clouding his judgment, and he's urging him to consider safer options to protect his brand. Could Tank be walking into a trap by taking this rematch? Or is Stephen A. overreacting? And Tank's got this in the bag? The boxing world is split, and Ring Ruler wants to hear your take. Drop a comment below and let us know who you're riding with, Tank or Roach. Before we wrap this up, let's talk about what's at stake in this potential rematch. For Tank, it's about legacy. He's already a three-division world champion, but a loss to Roach could tarnish his aura of invincibility. For Roach, it's about respect. He spent years in the shadow of bigger names, and a win over Tank would make him a household name. The bad blood, the controversy, the high stakes. This fight has all the makings of a classic. But Stephen A's warning is a reminder that boxing is as much about strategy outside the ring as it is about throwing punches inside it. Should Tank listen to Stephen A and avoid Roach, or should he roll the dice and prove he's still the best? That's the question that's got everyone talking, and we're breaking it all down right here on Ring Ruler. All right, fight fans, we're not done yet. If you thought that was wild, stick around because we've got a crazy prediction from a boxing legend about how this rematch could end, and it's gonna blow your mind. But first, do me a favor. Smash that like button if you're hyped for Davis vs. Roach 2, and if you're new to Ring Ruler, hit subscribe and join the family. We're dropping exclusive boxing content every week, from fight breakdowns to behind-the-scenes drama, and you don't want to miss a single video. Drop a comment below. Do you agree with Stephen A's warning? Or should Tank run it back with Roach? And who's winning the rematch? Tank by KO, Roach by decision, or another draw? Let's get this debate popping. Also, check out our last video on the craziest upsets in boxing history. It's linked in the description, and it's a banger. Thank you for rocking with Ring Ruler, and we'll catch you in the next one. Peace.